Good afternoon, Bulldogs. This is the PSAT Proctor training for this year, 2019-20. This year, the test day will be Wednesday, October 16th. We will begin in the morning. Okay, so I've sent this out a couple times already, but here it is again. So looking at the PSAT proctors, when choosing proctors, I always look at the rosters for those blocks to see who has the most juniors, and so we have as little movement as we can possibly have. Also, I try not to have to farm out a lot of students, so I try to keep that minimal as for confusion for students. So if you look here, the large gym will hold 300 students, and so we'll have Miss Edlin in there with 11 other people to proctor. So Miss Edlin, Mr. Kathy, Mr. Scordinas, Miss Drinkard, Miss Crutcher. During G1, we'll have Miss Kirby, Mr. Lindsay, Mr. Lowry, Miss Hoggard, Dr. Kemp, Miss Miller, and Miss Shelton. Then, when G1 ends, G2, we will have Mr. Linhart, Major Meneghetti, Mr. Powell, Mr. Overgard, Miss Garcia, Miss Miller will stay, and then Mr. Youngman will come in to replace Miss Shelton. Then in the small gym, we'll have about 150 students. Mr. Daniel will be in there with Miss Schweikart, Mr. Johnston, Miss Richards, since she has 11th graders, both G1 and G2 primarily. She will be in there for the entire time. During G1, Miss Sadek will be in there, and then Miss Tab will relieve her. And then Mr. Savato also has juniors G1 and G2, and he will be in there the entire time. Then in Flex B, we'll have about 64 students. Mr. Wise will be in there with Miss Sullivan and Miss Spicer. In the library, we're going to have 18 to 20 students who are on extended time and a half. So Miss Henderson and Miss Kersey will be in there for that entire time with them, and it may go into G3. Then finally, we have room 115 with Miss Barsamian, and she'll have a student in there with double time. Okay, so let's go over some of the training things that you need to know before we start on test day. Okay, so of course, before test day, please review this slides presentation and then watch the video. I will have emailed this to you. I'll email you the link to the slide presentation itself and then also a link to the video. On test day, you will need to carefully read the instruction sheet provided for you. It'll be in your big packet of stuff that I give you. Couple of important things there. Count all the test books and answer documents before and after testing. In case I left something out, let me know immediately so I can run and get whatever is needed for our students. Also, make sure you always count them after testing to make sure you have the same number you started with. If you don't know the students in your section, check for ID. They should all be wearing their IDs anyway, or you can ask another proctor in the room to help verify some of the students if you don't know them. If it's in question, please verify. If you don't know the kid, please verify either via ID or another proctor. Be an active and vigilant proctor throughout. Please do this. This is a great day to get your steps in, and it's a great day to just keep walking and walking and walking. Return all of your materials when testing is over to either myself, Mr. Daniel, Miss Edlin, or Mr. Wise. And if you cannot leave your space, feel free to radio or call if testing is over, and I will come to you. Okay, so here's a little bit more of a detailed schedule for the PSAT day. That morning, we're going to open the doors at 7:20 and start allowing students to come in. Between 7:20 and 7:45 is the ideal time that they need to come in, find their seats, get settled, and be ready to go. 7:45, I would like to begin reading the script. And then while the script is being read to the students, it would be a great time for proctors to begin taking attendance and filling out their seating charts. Hopefully around 8 o'clock, we will begin section 1, which is 60 minutes for the reading section. Now, this will fluctuate a little bit depending on the room you're in. I foresee that the large gym will start around 8, but it is possible in the smaller rooms like the library and FlexB, you might even be able to start at 7:55 with section 1, depending on how quickly you can get your students in their seats and get everybody settled. Then, after your 60 minutes is up, whenever that may be, but probably around 9 o'clock, you'll take a 5-minute break. Do not leave test materials unattended, and do not leave students unattended. I would say take about half of your proctors, or at least a couple of your proctors, and have them monitor the halls while students go out for restroom breaks, and then someone else or multiple someone else's stay in the test space to watch the test materials. Then we'll return for section 2, which is writing and language, for 35 minutes, and then that will roll right into section 3, which is the math no calculator portion, which is 25 minutes. After section 3, there is one more 5-minute break, so roughly 10:05 to 10:10, and then we'll resume with the final section of the test, which is math with calculator, and that is 45 minutes. Then at 10:55, when the clock stops and the proctor reads to tell everyone to put their pencils down, close their books, etc., there are a few other things that need to happen. There will be a certification statement and some other things. So before you dismiss any students, proctors must collect and verify their test materials, count them, make sure you have them all, and then within each room, once all of the proctors in a single room have collected and verified their test materials, the room leader can dismiss those students. I would say, though, if you finish before 11:05, hold your students until that 11:05 bell. Okay, so facilities, requirements, and setup. Test rooms will be set up by 7:20 for testing. Name cards and papers should be on their desks. Granted, for example, last year we had a slightly stressful situation when I arrived for ACT in the spring. The small gym was not set up yet, which meant I couldn't lay out the cards, and we were under a time crunch. So I will do everything in my effort to get all the name cards out before 7:20 so that everything is ready for you. However, if that is the one thing that is not done when you show up at 7:20, it's not the end of the world. So you can help your students sit within their section if you need to. So in your materials, you'll find a blank seating chart for your section. Please fill that in accordingly. The library, room 115, and FlexB will have a single seating chart to be completed, while small gym and large gym will have seating charts for each of the individual sections. And you'll see it. It should make sense when you see it. Please do not move any student desks or tables when you arrive. The diagrams and setup diagrams that I've requested, I have mimicked for my seating charts, so the seating chart should reflect the way the tables and desks are arranged. Okay, test materials. Again, I cannot say it enough times. All materials must remain secure. Please do not leave materials unattended. There will be a designated reader in each testing room, so please follow their instructions. And then return materials when finished to either Paul or myself or Miss Eatlin or Mr. Wise, and they will hunt me down and get them to me. Okay, so your proctor materials when you arrive should all be in a nice little bag, and there will be a cover sheet that has your name and the number of tests or answer documents that should be in your bag. There should be a roster with the students who should be in your section, and there should be a blank seating chart for you to fill out. Like I said, FlexB only has one seating chart for the whole space, and so does the library. So answer documents will also be in there. Anyone who has pre-bubbled and completed that with me or with their study skills teacher should have an answer document in there. And if a student does not have an answer document, it's because they did not pre-bubble. Then you will have test books. So however many answer documents you have, you will have that many test books. And then finally, I will give you a large number of pencils so you can give them to students. Please, please, please ensure that students are using wooden number 2 pencils, because we never know anymore if the the scanner that they feed them through will read a mechanical pencil. Okay, so again, test administration reminders. No cell phones for anyone. If you have an emergency, please get someone to watch your students for you. I will be floating. Please get someone to watch your students for you so you can step out of the room if you absolutely have to take that call or that text. Please do not get it out and be on it during testing in the testing room. Then, when you get started, as students are coming in, remember that we don't want them to have their backpacks and purses and belongings with them at their table. So as students come in, I highly suggest that we have them put all of their materials in a designated area of that testing room. Make sure that their phones are completely turned off, so no phones go off during the test. And that also, if they have their calculator, they need to take it with them to their seat. And I am going to say, if they have a snack and they want to take it and leave it under their chair while they're testing, and then take it out when they have a break, they may. There is to be absolutely no food or drink consumed at the table while they're testing. I do not want anyone to accidentally spill a water bottle on their materials or the person next to them. Okay. Also, for administrators and counselors, school radios can be used if it's necessary. However, I do ask that you make sure the volume is down as low as you can get it. And truly, you really only need one radio to be listened to in each testing space in case something were to arise. So late students and the door signs. I'll have door signs there, so please make sure the door signs are out before you begin testing. Late students, we will probably, like we did for the ACT, have some type of a holding area. I'll have details for that next week. And then if students come in around 7:50 and we have not begun testing yet, we'll let them in so they can test. However, of course, if even section 1 of testing has begun, we're not going to let the students in. Like I said, calculators and snacks need to go under chairs. So calculators are not to be on top of the table until it's the calculator portion of the test. Attendance and student verification, again, make sure you take attendance because I will be coming around early on to collect your attendance sheets so I can take them to Miss Mason and she can input whatever she needs to input. Again, if you need to verify students, check their IDs or ask the person next to you, the proctor next to you, and see if they can verify. Finally, fill in the seating chart, and then of course, like I said before, you will have 2 breaks, 5 minutes each, after test 1 and then again after test 3. Other than that, that's about it. If you have any questions, please contact me via email. Come catch me. I'll be in 103 most of tomorrow doing some makeup bubbling and some organization. And then Monday and Tuesday, I'll be doing the same. Thank you so much for everyone who's proctoring. I know no one volunteered for it, but I appreciate everything that you do. And again, thank you.